What's up everyone? Today I'm going to show how I'm automating the publishing of my module here, the PowerAzPlus, out to the PowerShell Gallery. This is living out in a GitHub repository and using GitHub Actions to publish it out there automatically every time I complete a pull request. I've talked about the manual steps to do this before in a talk I did at the Chicago PowerShell conference. I'll include a link to that down below. I also have a blog article that goes through the steps. So this is just going to cover how I automate it using GitHub Actions. As always, links and code is available down in the video description. My name is Jeff. This is Jeff Brown Tech. Let's go ahead and get started. Here we have the GitHub repository for PowerAzPlus module. I do need to finish filling out the README and some additional information out here, but I do have the initial makings of the module here with two functions to export and import logic app definitions. We've gone over that in other videos. First, let's take a look at the two workflows I have configured. If you're not familiar with GitHub Actions and their workflows, they are stored in the root of your directory in the .github folder and then /workflows. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. Here I have two definitions, a pull request create.yaml file. So this will execute whenever I create a pull request against the main branch. And then we have pull request merge, which will run whenever I merge that pull request into the main branch. Let's first take a look at pull request create. Now I am definitely more familiar with writing YAML pipelines out in Azure DevOps. I'm a little newer to GitHub. So if you see some code here, I wouldn't take it as best practices or final or anything like that. If you see something that you think should be changed or just a best practice, really appreciate if you left a comment down below. First, we have just the name pull request create. What are we going to trigger on? Pull request types opened and synchronized. Synchronize is when I make a change and have to push new code for a branch that already has a PR created. It will then run this workflow again because, I make changes with the code. So let's go ahead and double check it again. Now we have just one job under here called test. It's running on Ubuntu. And the different steps are we are checking out the repository. We're running the test module manifest command. I didn't go over this command previously. I think it's just checking to make sure your formatting and everything is good on the file. We'll double check that before we do. We'll then use invoke script analyzer to see if we have any best practices, either warning or errors that we need to take care of within our modules and functions. I am saving the results out to a variable, and if the count of things that it brings back to me is not equal to 0, meaning it found either warning or error with my code, we're going to write out the error, and that should stop the pipeline here, and that means I need to go back and fix something. Finally, on line 28, we have the step I'm going to actually test publishing out to the PowerShell Gallery. We'll see here I'm creating an environment variable called PS Gallery API key. You do need an API key if you publish out to the PowerShell Gallery under your account. I have that stored as a secret inside the repository. If you were to fork this or go look at the repository, you won't have access to that, but it's here for this pipeline to run for me. Then we'll run publish module, specify the path, the repository, the NuGet API key, and then we have what if, and then verbose just to output everything that's doing. So if it runs into an error, I can see more information about where it failed. The main purpose of this pull request is to test the code as much as possible to make sure it is ready to be merged into main, which will then publish it out to the PowerShell Gallery for me. Eventually, I'll probably get to the point of adding some pester tests in here. I've done a little bit of pester testing creation in the past. Actually ran into some problems too before. I really haven't used it that much though, but definitely I should start including this in here. I would also run those pester tests here to make sure everything is running great within the code. Now we've got all that done. We've tested quite a few things here. The manifest, we're checking for warnings and errors on the script analyzer, testing to make sure we can publish out to the gallery. Let's go take a look at the workflow when we actually merge the pull request. Again, what are we executing this on? It's pull request when we close it. There's also workflow dispatch on here. That's so I can run it manually if I need to. And then we just have one job called publish. We'll run this if the pull request merge is true, running on Ubuntu again, checking out the repository. And the only action we have here is publishing the module. We've already ran all our tests, so our code should be good. It's been reviewed by somebody else, and they said this all looks great. There's no notes. All the comments have been resolved. Now we'll publish it out there and we are good to go. Now I mentioned that API key that I had stored as a secret. Let's go take a look at that real quick and where it is. Now this repo is public. You should be able to go take a look at it, but you won't have access to the settings behind it here. If we go into settings and scroll down under secrets and variables, We have actions, and then repository secrets here, PowerShell API key. I can edit it and change the value if I need to, but I can't view the current value at all. But this is here and it is usable by the GitHub Actions workflows and everything to pull in the value of it and use it while we're publishing. Now, real quick, let's just go through an example of what this looks like in action. I'm going to create a branch and just make a small change, update my version, and we'll go through the process. And then back on the code tab, let's go in here and create a branch. I'm just going to call it, we'll say YouTube demo. Okay, now we're on YouTube demo. One thing I need to do has nothing to do with the module code or anything. I have this extra help file here in Markdown. I was using a module, the Plata PS, or however you pronounce it, module to create help files based on XML. I'll probably have another video on that eventually, but I exported it to the wrong place initially while I was just playing around with it and inadvertently included this file here. So I want to just go in and let's see if we can delete this file. And then once we've deleted it, we'll commit these changes. Just deleted this file here and commit. Now that doesn't affect the module functionality or anything like that. Just an extra file in here I knew I wanted to get rid of. Let's actually go into the module folder. Here we have my XML help file, PSD1, which is our module manifest, and then PSM1, which actually has our Azure functions inside of it. I'm going to go into my manifest file here and make a small change. Whenever you publish out to the gallery, you always need to increase your module version here. I'll just update this to 1.1.2. I would like to find a way to automatically update this. I've seen some examples, just haven't implemented it yet, but for right now, I'm just updating it manually before I try to publish it. We'll commit these changes, update that, commit changes, looks good. All right, now we'll pretend I've made some changes to the module code and everything, and I'm ready to merge this in. So let's go back to pull request. We'll show my branch here has made some changes. We'll compare and pull request, add a title, and just add some descriptions here. Demo for YouTube. Now, I also haven't been able to figure out how to add myself as a reviewer. I had to add some other policies within the repo here for me to bypass and basically do that. Again, I'm very new to GitHub Actions. I need to dive into a little bit more. Plan on looking at some certification stuff this next year. I'm going to put myself as an assignee. Don't have any labels or anything like that just yet. And let's create the pull request. Now, when I create the pull request, that first workflow should kick off. And if we scroll down here, we can see it shows some checks haven't completed yet, but it's running the pull request create workflow. If we go click on the details, it's going to open that up for us and we can see it's going through those steps. We've checked out the repository, it's testing our manifest, ran the script analyzer, looks like everything looked good there. If we expand that out, didn't run any warning or errors that we need to fix. Now we're testing publishing out to the PowerShell Gallery. We see the verbose output. And it looks like that was successful, or showing it would be successful. And we are good to go. This job completed successfully. Let's go back to pull requests. Open this up. Now if we scroll down, we see all checks have passed, so that workflow completed. Merging is still blocked, like I mentioned. I'm not sure how to add myself as a reviewer on here with some of the branch protection policies I put in, but I did allow myself to bypass a few things here. Let's go ahead and merge the pull request. We'll confirm merge. And perfect, it was successfully merged and closed. I'm going to go ahead and delete this branch. I don't need it anymore. Now, if we scroll back up and go under the Actions tab, we can see that this new workflow is running. It's the pull request merge workflow. Open this up, go into this job here, and it is attempting to publish the module out to the PowerShell Gallery. So we'll give this just a minute here and let it complete. Okay, and that looks like it was successful. So let's go ahead and go back to the main page here for our actions, and everything looks good there. Let's jump out to the PowerShell Gallery and take a look at our new version out there. All right, here we are out at the PowerAzPlus in the PowerShell Gallery. And if we scroll down, we can see 1.1.2. That's the version we updated to. It shows current version and last updated about a minute ago. This is great. That means our workflow completed successfully and published it out there for me automatically, so I don't have to do this manually anymore. Now, one of the things I do want to point out, we talked about that API key before. I'll just show you where it lives here. I went ahead and logged in real quick. If we come in here to my profile and go to API keys, we can see you can create a new one if you need to, but now we have manage. And I named this one GitHub PowerAzPlus because that's the module that repo it's associated with. And I have it specifically scoped to just the PowerAzPlus, so this key can only publish or make changes to that specific module. Once you create the key, you won't have access to it again, so make sure you copy it and save it somewhere, or you can come in here, edit it, regenerate one, etc. All right, that does it for this video. Just want to show you how I'm automating this process because, of course, that's what we do. We automate things, and I don't want to have to go through those steps every time, go get the key, save it, run all those tests and everything. It's all just automatically done for me now. Moving forward, like I said, I want to dive into pester testing, add some for that, and continue just adding functions to it. It'd be great if you wanted to download and try it out. Like I said, it's only got 2 functions in it right now, but as I build it out, hopefully it'll provide you some more functionality in the future. Anyway, that does it for this video. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.